I'm Peimin Ni. I originally came from China, and then I teach in Michigan, in America. My subject is mainly philosophy, and I teach comparative philosophy, comparing East and West, China, and modern Western intellectual traditions. With regard to dialogue civilizations, I've been involved in World Public Forum for quite a number of years. My first time attending the forum was 2006. So ever since then, I attended maybe 5 or 6 times Rhodes Forum, plus a couple of others as well. Now, my approach to dialogue civilizations can be probably summarized in the following 4 models that I perceived. You know, when we look at the history of the world, the East and West started to have a kind of dialogue way before now, right? And during the 18th and 19th century, the world's exchange becomes more and more frequent. And back then, the dominant model was jungle model. Jungle, like animals. Whoever is stronger, right, wins the battle, has more rights of language. And because of this, Chinese civilization was basically silenced and had to find its own voice through Western vocabulary. Like a century-old issue in Chinese philosophy is called the legitimacy of Chinese philosophy. People find that they had to adopt a Western framework in terms to reinterpret traditional Chinese thoughts. And so basically what's really unique to Chinese tradition was eclipsed. And then the other model of dialogue civilizations is what I call the zoo model. A zoo is a place where animals are kept in their own cages for display. You see that, for instance, in America. America is proud of being a melting pot. But in reality, you don't see much other cultures really as a way of life living in America. They are kept in their small cages. They don't have real encounter with one another. Right? It's a display of pluralism, multiculturalism, but there's no real dialogue. And then the third model is what I call the platform model. Well, somebody built a platform and they invite people from different cultures come to perform on the platform. Everybody gets some show. This is, of course, much better than the previous 2 models. Now, each one is better than the previous one, right? The third one is so much better than the other 2. But there's still a limitation. The limitation is there's not really much dialogue either. Everybody gets some rights to express their opinions and help others to understand yourself, maybe, as well. What I really would like to see is what I call the medical model. The world today is like a patient. We have lots of problems. People always mention like terrorism, financial crisis, environmental issues, right? Lack of spirituality, moral vacuum, etc. Then we should have different civilizations come together, like doctors from different fields, to get together to give diagnosis of this patient, the world, and propose our solutions and work together. This model was inspired by, furthermore, by traditional Chinese medicine. Traditional Chinese medicine is not based upon like Band-Aids. You have some problem here, then fix it here. Problem over there, fix over there. It looks at the whole patient holistically, as each part of the body is related to other parts of the body. Today's world's problem is actually all interconnected. You have Band-Aid approach, you cannot fix those problems. Sometimes get things even worse. So we should have a holistic kind of approach. Like Mr. Yakunin said today, the world's problem is that the system has a problem. We are based upon kind of wrong system now. The way of life, for instance, if we all live according to the American way of life, is the world sustainable, right? In China, if every family has 1 or 2 cars, no car can move. Right? So we got to think about the whole way of life that we have been led into since Industrial Revolution, since so-called modernization. Modernity is the Western style. Should we think about plural kind of multiple modernity? If we have that kind of approach to dialogue of civilization, we can put these things on the table and have some, real constructive results come out of it. That's what I hope.